Kennedy, to follow up on that spirited exchange. In talking with you and reading about your vision for the department, you said one of your goals is to return public health agencies to the gold standard of scientific review. You've alluded to the gold standard a number of times today. So I'm going to give you an opportunity, uninterrupted, but hopefully not too extensive, to tell me and others what you mean by this gold standard.
The gold standard means real scientific research with replication of studies, which very rarely happens now at NIH. We should be giving at least 20% of the NIH budgets to replication. We should make sure that all the science is published with the raw data. We should make sure that the peer reviews are also published. And I'll give you a quick example. 20 years ago, NIH scientists did a study on Alzheimer's, which they said it was caused by amyloid plaque. After that, NIH shut down studies of any other hypothesis. 20 years later, we now know that those studies were fraudulent. NIH has funded 800 studies on a fraudulent hypothesis, and we've lost 20 years in figuring out a cure for Alzheimer's. And that's just one example. I could give you hundreds. We need to end that. We need to end the old boy system. We need to have replicatable science and be completely transparent about raw data.
Thank you, sir. In recent years, particularly during the COVID pandemic, there's been a lot of skepticism about our public health institutions. Some of this, I would say, is warranted, but it's now created a pervasive lack of trust from the public that these institutions are acting in bad faith or failing to act in objective criteria, failing, in short, to act in the best interests of the public. If confirmed, Mr. Kennedy, how will you work to regain the public's trust? I suspect it will take some time in these important public health institutions.
Through radical transparency, I'm going to make the reason people don't trust the public health agencies is because they haven't been trustworthy. And you gave the example of COVID. At the beginning of COVID, everybody was rushing to get that vaccine. We had over a 90% vaccination uptake.
Yes, sir.
CDC's most recent recommendation is that Americans take the 8th booster. Only 23% of Americans are complying. That means 77% of Americans no longer trust CDC, and that is the problem.
Yes, sir. In the absence of full information, might it, I think I agree with you, but I want your response. Might it make sense to share that absence of full information with the American people, that uncertainty? I think one of the things, by observation and experience, that I saw during the pandemic was we had certain prominent doctors appear on television and indicate, no, you absolutely must not wear a mask. 2 weeks later, it's yes, you must wear a mask. But they were certain. And they even demonized people for not following the latest science, knowing there's a high level of uncertainty in that science. Would a measure of humility, and as you say, radical transparency demonstrates humility, help rebuild trust over a period of years?
Absolutely. We need to tell Americans what we don't know. We need to make sure studies that reach a null hypothesis are also published. And that doesn't happen.
Sir, I think you are right about why healthcare costs are so high in the first place. The answer is indeed chronic disease. 90% of our healthcare spending goes towards managing it, as you say in your open statement. It's not in the main because of waste, fraud, and abuse, although we know some exist. It's not in the main because we have greedy executives at innovative world-class companies. It's not in the main because we haven't yet adopted an unsustainable Medicare for all scheme. It's because of this. So I'm encouraged that you intend to make that a point of emphasis as it pertains to your future leadership. I will say, with respect to COVID, it's not over for a lot of Americans. It's not over. I know the mission accomplished banner was convenient for the last administration. But as we continue to navigate the ongoing impacts of the COVID pandemic, we have many individuals here in the United States and around the world who are suffering from long-term health effects that significantly impact their quality of life, work, and daily activities, and they've been largely ignored. Funding for long COVID research was appropriated by Congress in December of 2020, followed by additional funding directed by the Biden administration in February 2024. Patient groups and industry publications have criticized the slow pace of clinical trial design and enrollment. If confirmed, will you collaborate with healthcare providers, researchers, and effective communities to better understand and mitigate long COVID's impact? Yes or no, please?
Absolutely, Senator. There's 16 million Americans.
Will you commit to prioritizing long COVID research and integrate this work into broader healthcare policies? Yes or no, please?
Yes.
Patient groups, experts, and industry publications have raised concerns around existing long COVID funding being spent on observational research. In particular, criticism was directed towards recover funding being used to duplicate existing findings instead of funding trials for potential treatments or diagnostics. If confirmed, Mr. Kennedy, will you work with Congress so that going forward, long COVID funding will be directed primarily towards trial or novel research directions and not replicating existing observational research? Yes or no?
Absolutely, Senator, with enthusiasm.
Thank you so much. If confirmed, how will you create a balance between your personal priorities of chronic disease and healthy lifestyle and the ongoing critical work of the department in areas that are focused on incentivizing and advancing innovation in modern medicine and pharmaceutical discovery?
I think innovation is going to be the key to public health. And we have a unique opportunity now in history because of AI, because of telemedicine, and because of the quality of people that are now coming to HHS to actually save public health. But it's all going to rely on innovation, and I don't want to do anything that inhibits or impairs the pace of innovation.
That's encouraging. From approving AI algorithms to determining Medicare coverage, we certainly need more innovation, and we need good people in the department to assist with that effort. So I'll follow up with a question about how you're going to attract and retain good people. Thank you, Chairman.
Sorry to shut you down a little faster than I did the others, Senator. We are up against a vote deadline here, and we have one more senator who gets his full time. I hope you'll keep it as close to 5 minutes as you can, Senator Welch. And then I've promised Senator Wyden, 5 more minutes?
To be divided 1 minute with my colleagues getting 1 minute.
And then if we can do that, we can get over to vote before they call the vote on the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. And as you know, I'm a big